everyone, good morning. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. I'm Mubina Kapasi. After a couple of strong days, we are seeing the markets take it easy. So the Sensex is losing around 77 points and the Nifty too just about holding on to that 11,600 mark. Okay, no, we've given up that as well. And now we are staring at a cut of around 0.25%. So yes, we have sort of capped that massive gain that we saw in the Nifty and the Sensex in the last two trading sessions. But this show is, of course, all about flagging off those individual movers and shakers. So let's bring on board our team of research analysts. From the team, we have with us Soumya and Varun. And to flag off what exactly is, catching all the technical attention at this point is Himen Kaparia of Choksey Securities. So good morning to all of you. And let's kickstart the show first with the cement stocks. That's 1 week back in trade. And more particularly, I want to flag off India Cements. It's a big crack that we are seeing. It's among the top Nifty 500 losers as well. And like I said, the cement space in general is weak. So you put your finger on any of them, ACC, Ambuja, all of them are losing in trade. Now, from what we understand from dealer checks is that it's the fourth straight month that cement prices are in the red. They have been declining. That's a trajectory that they've been sticking to, and naturally that would not bode well for India Cements. Remember, then in the quarter gone by as well, we did see a good margin performance come by on a lot of these cement companies because of the way pricing has moved both on the cement side and on the raw material front. Let's see how this bodes in the upcoming quarterly numbers. That's Q2's numbers. For now, India Cements at 85 rupees. Okay, Himen, Nifty PSU Banking Index. This has been one very active index. Lots of news flow, lots of government recommendations. Today, however, it's the top sectoral loser. What's your recommendation here?
Well, very good morning to you, Mubina. Thank you for having me. We've been in a range, Mubina. We've been in a range for almost 4 weeks now. The range is between Nifty PSU Bank Index 2311 and 2600. So we walked into a little bit of a resistance area, but if I look at the daily and the weekly chart, things are turning positive. So notwithstanding the small breather, it's moved 10%. I mean, whole market's been that way moving. Notwithstanding the small breather, once we take out 2600, which would happen after a few trading sessions, some more upside seems to be on the cards.
Okay, some more upside may be seen on the Nifty PSU Banking Index, which of course did get that big gift from FM Sitharaman on Friday. And Soumya, Reliance Industries, yes, the big topic during the AGM was that they want to go debt-free. But after being debt-free, the fact that they may go on a spending spree is something noteworthy. Additionally, what does Morgan Stanley have to say?
Well, yes, and in fact, this is what we gathered from the reports, wherein the company said that they'll go on a spending spree once they become debt-free. In fact, they'll be upgrading and focusing on the chemical business. Apart from this, the other good news for all the shareholders is the Morgan Stanley note, which is overall very optimistic. They have maintained an overweight stance on the target price of 1,469 rupees per share, and Reliance happens to be their top pick in South Asia. Apart from this, they say that they're seeing clarity on 2020 growth, and it's trading at 8.2 times of EV/EBITDA of FY 2021. Well, for a heavyweight like Reliance to gain close to about 3.8% is definitely a significant up move and is definitely cheering the streets.
It is. It's 3.9% higher now for RIL at 1287 rupees. Okay, Varun, meantime, RBL here as well, big upgrade from Citi. This was one stock that was hammered out of shape in the last 1 month due to lots of concerns. What does Citi have to say though?
Right, Mubina. So as you rightly pointed out, an old favorite of the market, RBL has been like a top pick in the banking sector at one point. Now it's lost 45% in the last quarter. These are mainly around asset quality concerns, rising NPAs and downgrades for corporates to which RBL has exposure. Now, the book value on an average basis for RBL has been around 3 times and currently trades at 2 times. That's a 50% reduction in book value. Now, based on what management has guided, this is not fair according to Citi, and Citi has taken a contrary view, saying that estimates should be more in line with what management is saying. There's also good traction seen on the non-interest income side with the credit cards business. So overall ROA should improve, and now with the tax cut coming in, it has changed the landscape for all private and PSU banks, but RBL is also a beneficiary. So target price of 480 from here implies a 20% upside for RBL. It's still to react and take cognizance of that though.
Well, yeah, it's still down around 1.25% in trade. That's RBL for you. Well, let's move on and talk about a name from the AMC space. That's Reliance Nippon. Remember, it's currently in the process of transferring stake to the Japanese partner, which, according to reports, will be completed very soon. But apart from that, HSBC is very optimistic on the AMC space. Remember, it's Tuesday, but still the market cannot stop talking about FM Sitharaman's announcements on Friday, and that's what HSBC as well is taking cognizance of. They're saying that the AMCs will stand to benefit because of the lower corporate tax rate, and additionally, the inflow of equity mutual funds for the industry continues to be very robust. So naturally, AMCs will be pretty pleased with that. Interestingly, for HDFC AMC, which of course has been the star performer despite the weakness in the market, they are a bit circumspect, obviously, because of the fact that it's rallied so much. But they have a buy stance on an R Nippon, and they've hiked the target as well to 285 from 212. Stock price has given up a little in terms of the intraday gains, but nevertheless still gaining around 0.9%. Today finally we are seeing a bit of a bounce come by for the IT space, TCS, Inflow. All of them are finally playing catch up, I suppose, with the markets. Anything that you're observing?
Absolutely, Mubina. There is a bounce, there is a catch up. As far as TCS is a 9% long build up, but I mean, I would like to sound a word of caution because 2290, 1970 bounce very much, but the bigger picture is getting negative. And if I look at the monthly charts and the weekly charts, I think it's top heavy. There's a distribution happening. So TCS is in a bounce, but it's in a short, medium, and possibly a longer term downtrend. So I would say a sell on bounce sustainably at higher level is highly suspect.
Okay, so Hemant is still not very optimistic. A sell-on bounce is what he is recommending on a TCS. Currently, of course, the stock is at 2052. A bit of a bounce is seen today. But yeah, Hemant's exactly not very optimistic, because the trend has been lower for the short and the medium and the long term as well. Okay, Samia, what's the news on Aurobindo Pharma today? Because the pharma space in general is really the cynosure of all eyes. Even Dr. Reddy's, in fact, is in news. But first, Aurobindo Pharma, Samia.
Well, yes, SEBI has imposed close to about 23 crore of fine on Aurobindo Pharma and its promoters and the related entities for an insider trading case. The probe found that the promoter entities traded in the scrip of APL based on unpublished price-sensitive information, and this is something that has not gone down well with the investors, and as a result, we're seeing some amount of selling pressure and the stock trading in losses of over 1.2%. But having said that, the stock prices in the earlier part of the trading session were losing close to about 3 to 4%. Now they're off from the day's low.
All right, and that's really the case with a lot of stocks. Aurobindo, one of them, now only losing around 1% in trade. Okay, Varun, IIFL Securities, this is of course a newly listed entity that's been carved out of IIFL, locked in upper circuit today. What exactly is it that you are observing here? What exactly is making you flag off this stock today?
So, when the demerger happened, there was a lot of focus on IIFL Wealth, obviously being the more growth-oriented vertical. Securities being a more commoditized business with less of a growth runway, I think, was less in focus. However, you have to look at the fundamentals of any business, right? Now, when it listed at, I believe, a market cap of around 800 crores. Now you have to look at the ROEs and the profit margins of this business. Now, while the growth prospects might not be that high, it does do a 100 crore PAT and ROEs are close to around 20%. So many analysts on the street believe that there is some hidden value here. If not huge growth, this should be a company that can pay out a considerable dividend every now and then, as it does generate a lot of cash through its business. So there is some inherent value there which the street is picking up on, which is why I believe it's also been on circuit for 2 days. So we'll watch closely and see exactly at what valuation that tapers off to kind of decide what the exact multiple the business is getting from the street.
Okay, that's essentially IIFL Securities locked in upper circuit, like we said. Hexaway, Macquarie has maintained an outperform here with a price target at 480 rupees. Now, today in general, IT is a spot of green on the screen that you are witnessing. But yeah, I suppose an additional trigger for Hexaway, this mid-cap IT company, is Macquarie's outperform note. Now, they believe that the company is focusing heavily on 3 pillars of strategy for growth. The BFSI segment, of course, where Hexaway does have quite an exposure to, is likely to return to a stronger growth path next year. That's in 2020, and that naturally will bode well for Hexaway. The stock is gaining around 2.6%, strong as ever, along with the rest of the IT space today in trade. And Hemant, we spoke about the cement space being a weak spot, so let's get in a technical recommendation as well as to what traders could do with some of these cement names. Let's take an example of an ACC. You have a hold here.
Yes, yes, Mubina, a hold because one, we've had a tremendous move. We bought more than 15% in ACC in just a few trading sessions. Yes, we are in a short and medium term uptrend. A small correction is underway. A further upside cannot be ruled out, but there's going to be a small period of consolidation. So, stop loss of 1610, but the up move, I believe, is not yet over.
Auto Q. The ACC, it's 2.4% lower today in trade, and essentially Hemant is recommending that you keep your stop loss at 1610 rupees. Okay, let's look at this RWI small case and see what that one's up to. This one too has seen quite a fast-paced rally in the last two trading sessions on account of the move in the market that caused it to go above 552. But interestingly, despite the markets cooling off a bit, the benchmarks cooling off a bit, this one is still resilient. It's gaining around 0.22%, still firmly above the 553 mark, 552 mark, touching 553. So it's an interesting trend that we are seeing in the RWI small case. But in a fast-paced world and even faster internet speeds, fake news tends to spread far and wide, which can have huge repercussions, especially when it comes to our health. On a mission to bust fake health news and tips, Koki India's health quiz, partnered by Times Network, was launched to equip each and everyone with the right facts and information regarding health, fitness, nutrition, sleep, stress, and so on. Be a part of this 100-day initiative through an exciting quiz format that will educate as well as give you a chance to win some very exciting prizes. Hi everyone, welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now. Mahesh Nandarkar of CLSA says that the Finance Minister's announcements have the potential to lift markets by 10 to 12%. He also believes that capital goods, private banks and select PSBs should perform well from here on. Listen in.
Given the fact that we are heading into the U.S. election, which is about a year from now, and my sense is that there would be keeping the political situation in the U.S. in mind, I would say that there's a greater probability of some kind of easing of the trade war tensions between the two, rather than the other way around. So from that perspective, I would say that my view on the Indian markets with a 12-month view would still be optimistic, and I would be looking at a further 10-12% kind of returns at the broader market level. We have seen a large move on Friday, somewhat a move like today as well. But that just takes into account the potential EPS upgrade. So at a market level, very simplistically speaking, we were looking at about 7 to 8% EPS upgrade. But the PE change, which I believe is also warranted, hasn't happened as yet. So there is clearly some more upside here. I would like my portfolio to be more skewed now in favor of the investment cycle plays, so which is something that I would like to play through the capital goods names, some of the infra names, the lenders, which is basically the corporate sector banks, mostly on the private, but one can take a selective bet on the state-owned banks as well. Clearly I would probably also like to take a look at the four-wheeler space, because that's the space which has got kind of battered down.
All right, that of course is Mahesh Nandarkar, whom we spoke to earlier on ET Now. Well, let's continue with the countdown and talk about one sector that's really buzzing, and that's the auto space. Soumya, in particular, Maruti. What exactly is RC Bhargava saying, and more importantly, could we expect a pickup in sales from here on?
Well, yes, in fact, he did mention that we may see some amount of pickup in auto sales for this month. In fact, he continued to add that the passenger vehicle industry is heading towards the bottom of a downward cycle, and the sales are unlikely to decline further, starting with the festive season demand. And in fact, the sector which had been plaguing with a lot of concerns of shift in the BS BS4 to BS6 and other GST-related issues as well, we might see some amount of pickup. That's what he said. And in fact, talking about the stock performance, the stock was gaining close to about 3.3 to 4% at the start of the trading session, but now has reversed all the gains and is currently trading in red and losing marginally of 0.2%.
Well, yeah, it's actually at the day's low as we speak. Maruti has given up all the gains now in the red. And Varun, Tata Communications, it's another day where it's locked in upper circuit.
Right, Mabina. So we've spoken about Telecom quite a bit recently, but the up move just keeps continuing. Now, for the 7th day straight, the stock is on circuit. That's 7 days in trade. That's 35% return in 7 days, which I think is phenomenal. Now, there's two reasons that could possibly attribute to this. This could either be that the Hemisphere listing is going to be at a much lower valuation than what the street expects. Remember, the government is now the primary promoter in Hemisphere properties, and not to criticize, but we do see that government entities take longer on corporate action, and that's why they usually get a considerable discount. Or it could be that the residual value in Telecom is that attractive that even with Hemisphere listing at 160, 170, it's still on circuit. So all in all, if Hemisphere lists at the desired price, this means that the demerger has already unlocked around 15 to 20% value for shareholders in Telecom, which is great. Let's remember that they do own the largest underground subsea network, manage a huge portion of the world's voice and internet traffic, and are really focusing on data management services and ride on the back of TCS. It's a very interesting company, so I'm definitely going to be looking out for it closely to see when this up move finally ends, if it does.
Well, for now, it's continuing 7 straight days, so neat gains for this one in the last 7, 8 odd days. Well, let's move on and talk about another stock that's buzzing, and that's ICRA and CRISIL, both of them in the red. Now, we do have, the RBI that's actually expressed a disagreement over SEBI's proposed framework that would essentially enable these credit rating agencies to legally access borrowers' database, helping them in the timely recognition of default. That's what reports are suggesting at this point of time. Now, do remember that this is something that the market regulator had proposed. It would essentially give limited access to RBI's central repository of information on large credits. So banks report to this CRILC credit information on all their borrowers having aggregate fund-based and non-fund-based exposure of more than 5 crores. However, now it looks like the RBI does have a problem with these credit rating agencies accessing that information. Both of these stocks are down today in trade. Himen, we were talking about how auto stocks are resilient, but Eicher today, however, is bucking the trend. Though, mind you, we have seen some of these auto stocks anyway slip off from the day's high. But Eicher, look at the way that stock's moving. It's 6% down. It's top nifty loser. What do you make of this massive move we are seeing here?
Well, Mubina, frankly speaking, it's overbought and such as partial profit booking. Some of the early mechanical indicators like the MACD have given crossover sells, and the fact 15,600, 19,550 in 3 trading sessions is too much. So we're seeing some profit booking, but I still believe that this is not the end of the story. There is some more upside left, but for the time being, I think it's taken a breather and it needs to consolidate. So book partial profit. It's not a sell call, Mubina, but it's a partial exit.
All right, partial exit in Eicher is what he means recommending. Soumya, MCX, on the other hand, is seeing a massive uptick. What's the trigger?
Yes, this one's definitely seeing massive gains today. This is on back of Morgan Stanley's note, which is very positive and optimistic on the overall outlook of the company. They've in fact upgraded the stock from equal weight to overweight and have also hiked the price target from 870 to 1260 rupees per share. Not just this, they expect 30% upside for next 12 months and this may double in the next 3 years as well. Well, they say that it's a dominant player in the current commodities derivatives with more than 90% of the market share, and they see regulation-led structural tailwinds to earnings coupled with attractive valuations as a very key reasons for this upgrade and price hike in the targets. Well, this definitely is cheering the streets and the stakeholders. We're seeing massive gains of over 6% for this stock.
Well, it crossed 1,000 intraday, ebbed off a bit from there. And Varun, Galaxy Surfactants, that one too is seeing a nice uptick, in trade today.
Yes, Mabina. So it's a really quality company, no specific corporate action today. But I just want to highlight that the company has grown revenues by 50% in the last 4 years. It's doubled EBITDA in the last 4 years, and it's 3x'd its profit in the last 4 years. So, it's really strong growth trajectory. They keep investing, they keep doing capex, they are innovators. We interacted with them recently and they were just talking about the overall trends in the HPC market and how there's a huge runway for that business in India. In this market, it's been positive announcements lately, but making a 52-week high and always trading within 10 to 15% of there is commendable, hence I'm flagging off the stock today.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're out of time, so we'll wrap it up. Hemain, Varun and Samya, thank you for joining us in this edition of Market Fatafat. But before we let you folks go, here's what we have lined up today on The Money Show. You finished filing your returns as a responsible citizen, but you still have to get the intimation under Section 143(1). That means your return has been processed. If it's not, we will tell you on The Money Show as to what you have to do and how can you check if your ITR indeed has been processed by the department. Also, later on the show, we will be touching base with Vineet Sambre of DSP Midcap Fund on our Meet Your Fund Manager segment to understand what is his investment style and strategy when it comes to managing the DSP Midcap Fund. All of this lined up on today's Money Show.